Welcome back to Zodiac Trial dabbles in Corpse Party. We're setting up a ritual to win the game. I don't think we'll be so lucky. There's gotta be oil somewhere in this school. If not, this whole thing would be a complete waste of time. I guess I wouldn't put that past Brian, but somehow I doubt that's what's happening. Took a pause to think. Where could I get oil? Unexpectedly, it was Rooster who came in with the save. Say, on the first floor, there was something that looked like a generator room. I think we could find something useful in there. Ah, great thinking, Rooster. That's a great place to start. Awesome. Come on, let's go down and take a look. Grabbed the bucket and made our way down to the first floor. Eventually we got to the hallway that led to the generator room. It was poorly lit and pretty dark at the end of the hallway. Well, ladies first. Rooster, do you not want to go in? Actually, if I could just sort of stay down at this end of the hallway, that'd be great for me. You know, I could keep watch, keep guard. If anything comes up, I can alert you. In fact, we should come up with some sort of signaling system, maybe a bird cry or something. We'll workshop. You know what? Forget it. Stay here. I'll go grab the oil. Okay, sounds like a plan. Geez, some action star. Afraid of the dark? Really? I'm not afraid of the dark. I just get bad vibes from that hallway. Whatever you say. That Rooster, I walked down the hallway. Why does the school even have a place like this? Shouldn't this be locked away? Maybe it normally is. As I got to the end of the hallway, it got really dark. Surely there was a light switch somewhere or something. I looked around the walls. Ow! I stubbed my foot on something. Bent down to see what I hit. I grabbed something that felt like a canister. Is this it? It was tricky in the dark, but I was able to open it up. Normally it'd be a lot harder, but this canister had already been opened before. Hit the bucket in, and before I knew it, it was filled with something. Something that didn't feel particularly nice as it got in my hands. It was blood. Eagerly made my way out of the hallway. To start to see better, I realized that I had indeed gotten oil. Yes! You got it. You're darn right I did. Bravissimo. This is all that's left to gather the others, correct? Precisely. Well, we're really getting right into this. And so, after dropping off the bucket by the stool, we did exactly that. Rooster and I went through the school and told people the long and short of it. There were a variety of reactions, but everyone agreed to try it out. They all made their way to the classroom. The only complication was Monkey. For this to work, we'd need everyone's cooperation. That included Monkey. However, Monkey expressed earnest interest in helping the group. Of course she did, she always had. It was agreed that she could be untied and allowed to participate. Tying her up was an excessive measure in the first place, especially since she clearly posed us no ill will. She was the last to make her way up to the third floor. And with that, everything was prepared. We had the chairs set up. Everyone was here. We all input our actions for the round right before entering the classroom. In the center, the bucket of oil and the needle. Is there anything we were missing? There must be. This felt too easy. Could we really end this whole nightmare by just doing something this simple? Yet everything seemed to be in order. We had followed the note's instructions to the T. The only thing that could stop us now would be if someone messed up the ritual. And the only person who would benefit from something like that would be the other traitor. The one who hadn't outed themselves. If they tried to sabotage us at this stage, they'd surely be found out. So this was game, set, match, right? Pig echoed my thoughts. So, we're good? We just follow what the note says and everything will end? Just like that? Seems like it. Isn't this super suspicious, though? Are we sure we can trust this? What's not to trust? The note was written out pretty clear. Written out in blood. You're a writer, aren't you, Pig? Surely you've broken all your pencils before. I mean, who among us hasn't? Weren't most of those notes typed out? Then Brian was out of ink. You could just get more ink. Ink? In this economy? I love how you're rationalizing the blood note. Didn't know you were living so good, Pig. Looks like journalism pays bigger bucks than I thought. I legitimately can't tell if you're messing with me or not. Neither can I, and I love it. This is high school all over again. Pig, I know what it's like not to believe things would really be this easy. Trust me, this seems too good to be true to me, too. That note was found in a safe, right? It was left by Brian. I don't think it's like him to lie about a note. So maybe we just got lucky. Huh, lucky. What a joke. Can't you just look at things optimistically? Yeah, Pig. Why gotta look at everything glass half poisoned? That's not... I don't... Pig stopped to take a breath and calm herself. Come on, what's the harm in at least trying it out? Nothing comes of it, bummer. But if it does, we can all escape together. Well, not all of us can. Oh, sorry. No, no need to apologize. I was simply stating a fact. Right. In truth, perhaps it is a good thing to be so bluntly reminded of my impending mortality. It's nice to know that the tragedy of my death will be outshone by everyone else's joy in escaping. Monkey, I feel like by so blatantly advertising your death, you're gonna motivate the other personality to fuck up the ritual, just like Mouse was worried about. So why don't we give it a try, Pig? Oh, alright, fine. Can we please just get on with it? We've been standing around here doing nothing for quite some time. I know you lot think we've found some sort of special shortcut, but I won't trust it until I see it with my own 2 eyes. Ox is right. We should get started. So who's the demon choir? First things first, everyone get to your places. We all awkwardly shuffled over to the appropriate chairs. Next, we need to link our hands. Leaned over and grabbed the hands of both Pig and Ox. Outs. Don't we need someone to go and turn off the lights? Oh shoot, right, I didn't think about that. You're close to the light switch, Bunny. Why don't you be a doll and handle that for us? Sure thing. Bunny let go of Tiger and Dragon and walked over to the light switch. Simple flick, the room was engulfed in darkness. Well, it wasn't total darkness. After letting my eyes adjust, it's clear that the closed door and the window blinds could only do so much. Still, it was pretty hard to see nonetheless. I heard more sounds of footsteps. Eventually, they stopped. Presumably, Bunny had made his way back to his seat and resumed his place in the hand link. Oh! Brian is setting the scene, I see. That assumption was confirmed when, moments later, creepy music began to play. Creepy music must be the choir of the damned, mentioned in the note. I wouldn't exactly call this a choir of the damned, but I guess Brian had some artistic license. Music was coming from above, but it didn't exactly sound like it was coming from the school's speakers. Weird. I couldn't speak any of these thoughts, because with the music, the ritual had begun. No speaking aloud. I quickly realized it is I who had to start things off. Right, of course. Around the Zodiac calendar, from the beginning, meant the mouse would start things. I assured my duties and let go of Ox's and Pig's hands, and began to make my way through the darkness to the stool in the middle of the room. Had things been total darkness, I likely would have fumbled quite a bit. However, I was able to make out the general shape of the stool without too much trouble. For finding the needle that was lying on the stool alongside the bucket required a bit more searching. After a bit of feeling around, I got a hold of it. Okay, now the hard part. It was embarrassing to say, but I really wasn't looking forward to drawing blood from myself with a needle. I knew it wouldn't hurt that bad, but still. At least I was going first. Things would get pretty gross later down the line. My hand outstretched over the button, I gingerly pricked my fingertip with a needle. My skin didn't break. Annoyed, I tried it again, with a bit too much force. Shit. So that was too much force. But I had successfully drawn blood, and ultimately that was all that mattered. I heard it drip into the bucket, and I knew my work was complete. Deed done, I turned myself 180 degrees and slowly made my way back to my seat. Sat down, reached out, and eventually grabbed onto Ox's and Pig's hands. However, I wouldn't be holding onto Ox's for long, as no sooner did I grab Ox's hand, did he yank it away. I heard footsteps to my left and figured Ox was going to do his part in the ritual. After time, Ox returned and grabbed my hand once more. Slowly and surely, under the trance of the choir, the darkened ritual took place. It was really quite dramatic, even for what had transpired up until now. Even though I was merely sitting still, I couldn't help but feel a ball of tension in the pit of my stomach. I was waiting for the other shoe to drop. Life had been throwing me many surprises recently. But unfortunately, on this occasion, life lived up to my expectations. What? All of a sudden, the music began to blast loudly. The volume had drastically increased. Ah! Oh no. Moments later, I heard Ox scream out in confusion, along with another sound I couldn't quite interpret at the heat of the moment. Whatever had happened caused Ox to recoil, letting go of my hand. Shit, the ritual. If he let go, that would make things invalid. However, that soon became the least of my worries. What? Because in the span of a second, the person to my left lit up in a humongous burst of flames. Instantly, the room began filled with screams I couldn't interpret. I didn't have time to scream, I only had time to choose. My next choice was incredibly crucial. I should... Well... Jesus Christ. I mean, we gotta be close to an end, so... I'm gonna do both. We have time to do both in this video, so... Try to save Ox. What else could I do? I need to get Ox out of there immediately. He was dying in front of my eyes, for Christ's sake. I couldn't leave him to die. I leapt into action, reaching out to try and grab one of his arms. I was able to get a hold of one very on-fire arm. In my rush, I didn't even register the first-degree burns I was suffering. Good old adrenaline was keeping me laser-focused. I gave Ox a strong pull towards me, trying to get him out of the way. Fortunately, it seemed as though Ox wasn't just in the middle of a fire. He was the fire. Rather, he was directly set on fire. Was that oil he was covered in? The thought was fleeting, because most of my attention was brought towards the little problem I had created. See, in pulling the source of the fire towards me, I had also brought the fire towards me. My pull was mostly to get him away without regards to how I ended up. And, well, to make a long story short, I ended up with Ox directly on top of me. A flaming Ox, for that matter. Oh, I imagine that I tried to push him off to get away, but at that point the oil must have gotten on me. Fire had begun to sear my flesh. I was likely so preoccupied with everything that I didn't hear the sounds of footsteps leaving the room, with everyone else running away. Cowards. So yeah, in my attempt to help, I definitely just caught myself on fire. Fire ain't a quick death, so as the pain seared my flesh, as I tried to scramble Ox's body off me and crawl away, I also got the joy of choking on all the smoke. Why am I talking about my fate so distantly? To be honest, this one's so gruesome that I don't even want to play around with it. I'm fine completely disassociating myself. You know, many consider burning to death the third most painful way to die. Second is dying of radiation. Apparently the most painful way to die is a method called scaphism, an old type of execution. In scaphism, the victim would be trapped in a hollowed-out tree trunk and force-fed milk and honey until they had horrible diarrhea. Next, the milk and honey would be poured all over the victim, with the eyes and genitals given special care in order to attract insects. So the trunk would be filled with honey and shit and horrible insects, and the victim would just sort of be there, going mad as the insects burrowed into their skin. Whether the victim died of starvation, dehydration, exhaustion, or septic shock is the dealer's choice. But whatever the case, it'd be a long and painful process. That's apparently the worst way to die. The more you know. Jack of clubs. Ooh. Particularly nasty fate if I do say so myself. The way in which to avoid this is rather obvious. Observing the hellfire which erupted beside her, Mouse should seek to prioritize her own safety above that of some stranger. If Mouse truly wished for Ox not to die, she shouldn't have gone along with that person's ritual. But how could she resist so tempting an offer? She can't and won't, And so if Mouse finds that note, Ox will die. Simple cause and effect. What is this line here? That's a cool picture. That's the Jade Emperor right there. What was this? This is just fire. Yeah, that's just fire. Okay, we're on fire route. Hell yeah. Get to safety. My emotional side wept for Ox. My logical side realized there was no way in hell I was saving him. And at this point, he was already engulfed in flames. It just wasn't feasible anymore. I should focus on saving those who were still alive. Namely, myself. Goodbye, Ox. What I could only honestly describe as an act of pure cowardice, immediately turned away from the fire and ran out of the room through the door. It would have looked pretty shitty if I was the only one to try something like this. Luckily for me, I was hardly the only coward. In fact, the entire room cleared of people. Every single one of them immediately put as much distance between them and the sudden inferno as possible, running out of the room en masse, screaming all the while. Once we had all gotten to safety, we took a moment to stop, take a breath, and realize what had happened. Once we had calmed down, we were able to re-enter the room and see what exactly we were dealing with. Inside, we didn't see Ox's corpse. That'd be far too kind a term for what we laid eyes on. No, instead we looked at a flaming, charred flesh in a vaguely human shape. I saw that sight which would be burned into my retinas for the rest of my life. Then I promptly began to throw up. So, it's settled then, right? We're agreed? Nothing is settled. Sounds pretty settled to me. Predictably, after the smoke literally cleared, our group defaulted to our usual pastime, incessant bickering. The creepy music had stopped a while ago. It went without saying that the ritual had failed. For one shot at skipping to the end of this stupid race, blown. That was really more a secondary issue. The primary issue being the exact circumstances that had left us with a burning corpse. Clearly it was murder. Murder by arson. The question was, who did it? Up until this point, I had mostly stayed silent in the corner. Even though in the past I had tried to lead the group, I needed some time to take in everything that had just happened. Ox. He was the person I woke up with, the person I had spent a lot of time with. He seemed reliable, like someone you could depend on. For him to end up like this? At least I was holding it better than some people. But for Ox's sake, I couldn't just stand passively by any longer. I needed to help solve shit. It seemed, however, that the group had reached a conclusion without me. Now, horse, we don't want to start a fight over this. We just want to figure out what happened. Would you try explaining to us why you aren't the culprit? I'm not the culprit because I didn't kill anybody. Right, and? For him of all people to become the prime suspect. Oh, what a tragedy. This interrogation will be dreadfully dull. Sorry if I'm not amusing to you, Snake. Do you want me to juggle while I deny him being a murderer? You could put the mask on. That's something. That's not necessary. That would be pretty badass if you could pull it off. Indeed, it would be rather badass, wouldn't it? Or as you can see where we're coming from, though, right? No, I can't. You're both a bunch of idiots. Both Rooster and Sheep have confirmed you were standing up when things went down. You admitted it yourself. It's clear from the way the flames went up that the culprit poured oil on Ox and lit him up. You were the only one who could have done it. I didn't. Compelling stuff. I'm not even going to attempt to point out that there's still a significant amount of oil in the bucket. Why would I when you can do that for me? Because I'll also point out that we are unsure of the exact amount of oil that was in the bucket. It was entirely possible you could have sloshed some on him. If you make points in your defense by yourself, I won't instantly know their weaknesses. Sounds annoying. If I have to, though. How exactly did I light the fire? Oh, now this is an interesting quandary. How was the fire started? If we're looking for ways to light things, I saw Dragon take out this sick lighter earlier. Oh, really? Got a fucking narc on me like that, girl? I thought we were cool. Hey, no, wait, I didn't mean to. Couldn't he have just used an old match or something? I don't see how this is an issue. I'm not disputing the object used to light the fire. I'm saying that if I lit something in front of me, you all would have seen that, right? Hey, Horse is right. I definitely would have seen the fire if the fire started small in the center of the room, then was tossed to Ox. The answer lies in just how flammable this oil is. Frankly, the fact that any amount of this was found at the school is distressing. Meeting of teachers shall be called to discuss that. More to the point, it takes little to set it ablaze. The igniter could be something as innocent as a particularly bad static shock. With the carpet in this room, it's possible that something to that effect was prepared. A static shock? Seriously? Perhaps it's not the most elegant solution. However, it's passable. At any rate, your objection in itself is not enough to absolve you of the prime suspicion. This can't be. There's no way Horse would do this. And I know he doesn't, he might not look it, but he's actually really thoughtful. And, do you really think if he was going to kill Ox, he'd do it in such an obvious way? Well, Sheep, Horse doesn't exactly strike me as a man of subtlety. He's not an idiot either. He wouldn't just do this. Okay, I'm hearing you, Sheep. Do you have an alternative explanation? Alternative? Well, oh, I know. What if it was Rooster? Rooster? He was sitting next to Horse, right? But he was also sitting next to Monkey. Monkey is a traitor, so I might be okay with a plan to disrupt our unity. She says Rooster didn't let go of her hand, but she could be lying about that. So, Rooster's also unaccounted for when the lights went out. I think it was Sheep. I hate to cut in, Sheep, but I must say this is an absolutely ludicrous proposal. Have I not already proven myself trustworthy by confessing my role? I sincerely wish for nothing but the survival of the most people possible. I would tell you if Rooster let go of my hand. He did not. That's... could be lying. Admitting it earlier could be just a ruse. Or have you changed your mind? Sheep, regardless of whether or not Monkey is lying, it cannot be Rooster. Horse, you made your way right to the stool, right? Correct. And you've claimed the bucket was right in front of you. As far as I can tell. And how would Rooster have gotten the oil on Ox? In that darkness, he somehow maneuvered around Horse and spilled oil on Ox without him or anyone else noticing. Seems entirely implausible. You're right, Snake. Hey, hold on. Who's counting me out? Who's saying what I can or can't do? Oh my god. I totally could have killed Ox. Nothing's holding me back. I could have just prepared my own container of oil beforehand and used that. I knew where Ox was sitting, so I could have easily thrown that oil on Ox without even leaving my seat. And where is this hypothetical container now? Easy. I hid it in this super secret hiding spot when everyone was running away. God, you're such an idiot, but yet at the same time, you might actually be onto something. It's the fucking smooth brain route. It's winning the day. So what about that? Try saying I couldn't have done it now. Rooster's right, he's still a suspect. Rooster, would you please stop? We both know you couldn't have done this. Says who? Ever since we found that note, I've been with you. The note is when we even learned about the oil. In fact, you're the only person who didn't have an opportunity to prepare another container of oil for this. Now just stop and let us focus on the important things. I still could have done it if I really wanted to. So that's it then? We've settled on Horse as the culprit? Hey, not so fast. Look how Bunny is trying to fast-track this. Fast-track this? Fast-track what? I just thought the conversation was over. We're out of suspects, right? Not true. There's someone else who could have set this all up. That person is you. Pig overdramatically stuck out her arm and pointed at Bunny. I'm surprised no one accused Mouse yet. Bunny seemed unimpressed. Pig, what are you doing? What do you think? I'm exposing you. Really? Really? I don't know why you were all looking at me like that. I'm really right about this. Think back to the start of all this. Back to the beginning. The person who turned off the lights was Bunny. And he went back to his seat. That's right. I did. Did you? Yeah. Well, You might not have. Could use that opportunity when all our eyes were readjusting to pour oil under Ox's chair. If you did it like that, he might not have noticed it. Pour oil under Ox's chair. Pig, that's ridiculous. All this is ridiculous. I'm just going along with the situation's tone and following suit. Something we should all be doing. If Snake's thing about static electricity is correct, that oil was super flammable, it's possible that when the fire began was complete coincidence. You know what this reminds me of? I know I said that we were going all corpse party, but this in particular is giving me major Danganronpa vibes. Specifically Danganronpa V3 Case 3. Then when the whole caged child ritual with Grecio and friends. So who's the Kyo of this? Who's the Kyo of this game? Who mucked with the ritual? I still think it was sheep somehow, but this is amazingly, this has turned into this is a really interesting mystery. Possible that when the fire began was a complete coincidence. You could have just waited patiently for it to start. But, Pig, by your logic, couldn't any of the people who stood up have done it? I don't think so. Usually something like this would be noticeable. When the ritual started, our eyes had adjusted, we were used to the music, we were all on high alert. We'd have noticed if somebody deviated from the script too much. Right after Bunny turned the lights off, it was pitch black. Music suddenly started playing. I think it's conceivable that Bunny could have made a move then. Seriously? No one's buying this, right? Bunny desperately looked around the room. I must say, the probability that this was the true answer is rather low. However, it is not so low that I can dismiss it outright. Apologies, Bunny, but I think Pig's story holds enough water to mark you as another suspect. Well, if this is how it needs to be. It seems as though Bunny was also under suspicion. But could it really have been him? No, that's wrong! I couldn't put my finger on it, but something about Pig's version of events just didn't sit right with me. I could have articulated that into words, I would have, but the feeling was too vague for now. Alright, I'll bite. So suspects are Bunny and a horse. Where does that leave us? Need you even ask? We already have a protocol for dealing with suspicious people. You don't mean... Hell yeah, I'll go get more jump ropes! Practice in bondage is a once-in-a-lifetime experience. This really doesn't seem necessary. I don't need to go along with this. Note my compliance as a sign of my innocence. Of course, horse. Tiger worked fast. Before I knew it, Bunny and Horse were tied tightly to their chairs. Honestly, I was doubtful about whether or not the restraints on Horse would really hold up if he tried to fight back, but it was the best we could do given the circumstance. At the very least, Horse looked content. Bunny noticeably less so, but he wasn't speaking up. I realized it might be in poor taste to leave them tied up in the same room as the charred corpse. But, they were over there. A little late for that, and shouldn't you put them in separate rooms so they can enter their moves and shit? So, that takes care of that. Before we proceed, might I re-suggest that we move in pairs? I know we may seem less at risk than before, but my position on it hasn't changed. This time, nobody really wanted to fight Monkey on this. I guess seeing a dead body in person made more people value security. Plus, the biggest opponent of that proposal was now lying on the floor. He wasn't in any position to be offering complaints. Did we save Ox if we agree with Mouse? If we agree with Monkey earlier? We'll find out later on. Very well then, we'll group up. I'll go with Dragon. The hell you will. What, not a fan of my company? I'll beat the fuck out of you, dude. Trust me, I'm a great conversationalist, many can attest. That's a negative in my book. I'd even want to go with me anyways. In the case that I'm assaulted, I figured I'll choose the person who's be most adequate to protect me. Which just happens to be the person most likely to assault you. Hello, I'm right here. I stand by what I said. You know what? Fine. You can tag along. Just learn to shut up. Alright. Fine then. Guess I'll go with sheep. Okay then. That's okay with me. Pig and I can watch Monkey. It would be a pain to tie her up again, and she's already proven her worth. How thoughtful of you to say. I have no objection with this arrangement. Me neither. Being with a group of 3 works just fine for me. The math works for me better like that. Guess that means you're with me, Mouse. Guess that means you're with me, dog. You don't sound enthused. Matching your level. Fair enough. Dog respects you when you get on his level. Guys. One little objection that I'm just realizing. How exactly are we supposed to input our moves for the rounds if we're tied up? Right. If we are tied up, we will be unable to input our moves. Then we shall be executed. Which, gotta say, I don't love. Shit, they were right. Oh right, that is an issue, isn't it? You know what, Mouse and I will make sure to swing by at the end of each round and let you handle it. That good with you, Mouse? Yeah, sure, but... Monkey, you were tied up too. What happened with you? Oh, right, that. Luckily, Ox came to my aid before it was an issue. He allowed me to use my tablet freely before the end of each round. I must say, it was a good thing, too. Had no one realized it, it would have been executed in quite an unfortunate manner. When I realized my predicament, I was already tied up. Needless to say, I was quite stressed before Ox showed up. Oh. Sorry about that. It's in the past. Now, let us face the future. Let's. Just like that, the search of the school resumed once more. We're still no closer to figuring out who the last traitor is. It's cruel to think that just a few minutes ago, I thought there'd be no need to do this anymore. That shortcut had literally gone up in flames. But I'm actually really enjoying this round. No lie. Now we had to fear and scramble once more. Why? It had to be the desperate personality. Must have done it to avoid an instant loss. But then why kill Ox? That was a completely unnecessary step that only brought more suspicion. If they wanted to stop the ritual, there must have been easier methods. For instance, I hadn't thought about it before, but couldn't someone have pricked their finger but simply not bled into the bucket? If they did that, it would be near impossible to tell who had deviated. There's a chance the music would have instantly ended the moment the ritual had conclusively failed. Something similar likely happened this time. How does Brian even know the ritual is working? Does he have night vision in there? You have a camera fixed on the bucket? So he can see if someone is bleeding into the bucket or not? Still, there had to be other ways. No matter how much I thought about it, I couldn't rationalize things. Boy, do you look depressed. I looked up a dog. We've been looking through an administration office on the 2nd floor. Well, I mean, duh. We were so close. We're almost done with this, and then it all just got fucked up. Why wouldn't I be sad? No, it makes sense. Just bringing the atmosphere down in here. Bringing the atmosphere down. I gotta say, dog, you don't look particularly bothered by all this. You barely spoke up back there. Yeah, well, you know what your issue is? What? You have hope. Oh, brother. No, actually, hear me out. I learned a long time ago that you can really let a lot of emotions go to the wayside. And the one that hurt me the least to let go of was hope. It's a functionless feeling. I really don't need this conversation from some washed-up emo. Yeah, I get it. I'm not the person you'd trust on something like this. Actually, think about it for a second. What does hope ever get you? Not a particularly enjoyable emotion all on its own. It's not unpleasant, but it's no substitute for actual happiness. The main function of it is to create expectations. Expectations that are either fulfilled, which will make you content, or they won't be fulfilled, and you'll be crushed. Yeah, that's how life works, dog. Very insightful. I'm just saying, if you don't bother with the expectations in the first place, you learn to take things for how they are. You never get let down. Dog, I feel called out right now. I definitely feel calling out right now. 'Cause that's too close to how I approach these days. That's way too close. Ow. Must say not try things, to improve things. When things go well, savor it. Don't expect things to go well. That way when they don't, you can't just laugh at it. You know what's funny? You almost sound convincing. Almost convincing, huh? Supposed to call me on a good day. Anyway, the round end isn't too long from now. Wanna go check on Buddy and Horse? Let's. Just like that, we made our way back to the 3rd floor. And they're dead. As he opened the classroom door, I expected Bunny to be in a rather sour mood. Buddy was dead. What the hell? Ah. Huh. I suppose this is a pretty good counterpoint. Sometimes you think you don't have any expectations, and life can still shoot lower. Well, not much you can do about that, though. Would you shut up? Horse is dead! Oh. Indeed, as surprising as it was, Horse's body was splayed on the floor, on top of his toppled chair. Cause of death was obvious, a bullet right through his head. Why hadn't I heard a gunshot? Even more surprising than Horse was Bunny. All that was left of him was the ropes that had previously been tied around him. Uh-oh. Bunny heel turn. In other words, he was gone. This isn't good. Boy oh boy, is this not good. Could you not laugh? Sorry. I'm actually sorry. Just a different way of coping. Bunny must have gotten free, killed Horse, and escaped. So I guess he really did kill Ox then. Weird. Wasn't paying too much attention, but I thought Pig's story didn't make much sense. I don't know whether or not Bunny killed Ox. I do know he's loose and likely dangerous. Indeed. This is really weird, because... Unless Bunny's got a different personality this route and is the heel again. Although? It's nothing. You can't just say that. I mean, I can. Spit out what you meant to say. Okay, jeez. All I was gonna say is that it's kind of weird that Horse's ropes were untied. After all, he was probably shot before he was untied, right? So then why untie a corpse? Good point. Probably doesn't really matter all that much, so let's forget that for now. Like you said, the bigger point is the fact that Bunny's gone missing. And he's got a gun. Want to alert the others? Did I? Hold on, just wait a second. Okay, proceeding to wait a second. Dog seemed in no rush to alert the others. It was disturbing how passé he was acting about this, but for the time, that worked to my advantage. Before, it didn't seem like such a big deal. However, now that we have confirmed the fact that there are more killings, we need to look at what happened with Ox closer. Right now, the obvious assumption would be that the killer is Bunny. Does that make sense? I don't know. Does it? I don't think so. The problem with Bunny being the culprit is that the way Pig proposed it, he had no direct control of when the fire started. However, thinking back, the music suddenly got super loud before things went down, not after. That can't be a coincidence. Hey, you're right. So we have to factor in the noises that happened when things went down. For the sake of argument, Ox's shout of surprise could be him feeling the static shock happening below him. But I heard something else, something that sounded like oil landing, a lot like oil landing on Ox. So you're saying Horse was the culprit? I'm not saying that. If we're under the assumption that Horse did it, it doesn't make sense for Bunny to kill Horse and flee. So what are you saying? I'm saying Bunny might not have escaped. He might also be dead. And that the words hang in the air. I expected some acknowledgement from Dog, perhaps a look of surprise. But instead, he looked me in my eyes and answered me at my own level. If that's the case, Mouse, then why kill Horse? Huh? Your theory goes that if Bunny isn't the killer, and neither is Horse, then it must be someone else. Someone else killed Horse and then hid Bunny's body to make it look like he escaped. Am I understanding you correctly? That's the gist of what I'm getting at, yeah. Everyone agreed that suspicions cast on Horse held a lot more water than those cast on Bunny. People would buy Horse killing Bunny and escaping as the true killer. A lot better than they'd buy Bunny doing that. So I set it up like this. I couldn't give Dog the answer he looked for. It was a minor problem, but a surprisingly critical one. What could the explanation be? So, now can we go tell the others? Thought some more about the ritual. How perfect a crime it was. How well it was set up. Yet, how amateurish certain elements of it felt. That contrast. If the killer wasn't Horse and it wasn't Bunny, there had to be someone else who could have poured oil on Ox and lit him on fire. Thinking about the setup, there was one place I'd need to check in order to uncover the full truth of this incident. Where to look? Ooh. Above the body? If Horse didn't throw oil on Ox, nobody could have. It means the oil didn't come from a person. It came from the ceiling. Was this conclusion absolutely absurd? Yes. Did I know how it tied in with anything else? No. When you eliminate the impossible, all that's left, however improbable, is the truth. I guess. Honestly, the moment I got to work, I started to feel a little dumb, but there just wasn't time to hesitate. There were clues pointing to this conclusion. I just had to trust my instincts and follow this lead through. So I pulled over a desk, climbed on it, and looked up at the ceiling tiles. Sure enough, there was one directly above where Ox had been sitting. Which... The music got louder because the tile got lifted up. The ceiling tiles were muffling the music coming in to the room. When the ceiling tile got lifted up, the music got louder. That makes sense. Shit, that makes sense. Wouldn't you know it, looking closely, it looked like 3 of its 4 sides were already broken off. I reached up and with a simple push, I was able to loosen the tile. It swung down, only holding on by a single side. And to both my surprise and delight, on the other side of the tile, I saw oil stains. Oil had definitely been poured on the top of this tile at some point. Poked my head around a bit more, and thought I saw something sitting up in the area above the ceiling tiles. Reached around and pulled down what had ended up being a speaker. A speaker? Looked like the type a high schooler would keep. Perhaps in their locker. Looked up to it with some sort of MP3. Looked around the speaker some more and noticed that there was a slot on it. A slot that could, perhaps, hold a portable remote. But does this mean it's somewhat in... Okay. There's one more thing to confirm. Took out the MP3 and looked at the songs. Sure enough, the one it was playing on loop matched the song that had previously been playing during the ritual. With this, all the mysteries had been solved. The way in which Ox met his end had been illuminated to me. There was exactly one person who had the opportunity to set all this up. That's the whodunit and the howdunit. The whydunit I was still unsure of, but generally the culprit got to supply that themselves. For now, there was a bigger issue. Thinking about it carefully, from this position, the person's next step should be... Dog, quickly. Do you know where Dragon and Rooster went to look? Dragon and Rooster, huh? I thought I saw that pair headed towards a hallway on the 2nd floor. Why, what's wrong? A lot. Find Tiger as soon as possible and get her to come to the 2nd floor. I'll do what I can in the meantime. Oh boy. This is urgent. Dog, do you understand me? Copy it, loud and clear. I'll put some pep in my step. Good dog. Dog and I ran out of the classroom and split up. Dog can really do it when he tries, man. I could only hope I would get there in time. I ran down the 2nd floor, through the hallways, towards where I hoped they would be. Glanced in classroom after classroom until I finally saw the scene I was looking for. Dragon on the floor with her fists clenched and looking pissed as hell. Oh fuck! Standing above her was Rooster, holding a silenced pistol, aiming it at her. It seemed as though I had made it just in time. Without a second thought, I bolted into the classroom. Oh shit, this is Rooster's round. Rooster, stop! Oh, Mouse. Good thing you're here. You could help me with this. Wait, what? Help with what? Containing you, of course. I was minding my own business, and all of a sudden, you attacked me. thing I found this discarded gun in a hallway a little bit ago. I'd really be screwed. Oh, this is an act. The hell? That's not how it went at all. I was the one just minding my own business before he just up and attacked me for no good reason. Mouse, I'm the victim here. You gotta believe me. I know, Dragon. You do? I do. Hey, why is that? You really don't trust me, Mouse? I did, Rooster, until I put it all together. Put it together? Mouse, you're being awfully vague right now. Mind letting me in on whatever big revelation you had? Okay, I will. Rooster, you're the one who killed Ox. You also killed Bunny and Horse. The hell? Is this right? Honestly, I could hardly believe it either. Could Rooster, that moronic, pompous douchebag, pull off something as ruthless and calculated as this? I completely went against my image of him. This is where all the evidence led me to. From here, I could only let my logic guide me. Interesting hypoth, Mouse. Loving your energy. You're with the betrayer and the misguided vigilante roll well. Nice stance, nice diction. Ever considered acting? You think I'm acting right now? I think you're acting out of line. Heyo, Rooster. Look, okay, I get it. You're like a detective or whatever. That's your shtick. That's a cool shtick. I love your shtick. But you gotta pick a time and place for it. There are cool times to use your shtick and lame times to use it. Just as a handy guide. Cool times to use the detective shtick, accusing commoners, pointing at people, walking away from a bomb. Lame times to use the detective shtick, accusing me of being racist. To just give you a quick rundown. Oh, I see you have some standards. Rooster, I beg of you, please let me do my explanation. Oh, you were trying to start a monologue. And by all means, go ahead. The floor is yours. Thank you. As I was saying, Rooster, you're the one who rigged Ox's death trap. Broke the ceiling tile above where he was going to sit. He broke 3 sides of it so that it would dangle down. Then he placed some kid speaker up in the ceiling, set the music in the MP3 to be real creepy, and then took the remote for it. Poured a decent amount of oil on the tile. You delicately set it up where it was sitting safely. Flash forward to the actual ritual. The person who turns the music on is you. Depending on where you put that remote, you could probably hit play without needing a free hand. Then when Horse was up to do his thing, you cranked up the volume drastically. The sudden vibration on the ceiling made the tile come loose, spilling the oil all over Ox. To get it so that the tile would come loose at that volume, you might have practiced it a few times before spilling the oil on the tile. Okay. Rewinding for a question, when did he do this? Regardless, right after the oil had fallen onto Ox, he threw a statically charged something at Ox. I can't even begin to guess exactly what it was, but whatever it was, it worked. Ox was lit on fire. Everyone panicked and fled. And that darkness and brightness and chaos nobody even noticed when you knocked the tile back up to the ceiling as you fled. Judging by the positioning in the circle, you'd have been one of the people in the back of the room. But there weren't really any eyes on you since everyone else had already fled. You know, I totally could have done all that. I mean, some might say something stupid like, "Hey Rooster, how'd you have time to set any of that up when Mouse was watching?" They underestimate my speed. See, the key was when you wandered down that hallway in the generator room. Again, I beg you to shut up. Rooster, the reason you were able to pull something this ridiculous off is because you set the stage for it perfectly. You knew the code because you already figured it out. And you settle it up before you even met up with Mouse. You already knew everything about the ritual. You found all the shit. All those dumb suggestions you were making that turned out to be true, they were all completely intentional. The ritual was perfect for you. Turning off the lights, supplying the weapons, guaranteeing where everyone would be seated with precision accuracy. On the other hand, there were a number of things weird about it. Why was this the only note written in blood? Would Brian really give us a task that could just let us skip the rest of this game? Why change up the order of where everyone sat? It all makes sense if you assume that the whole thing was nothing more than your script. So now I'm giving Brian the orders. Not at all. You simply found that safe first. You saw its true contents, emptied them, then planned to use the safe to your own ends. You needed to make it believable, which is why you put the needle in the safe. Needle you probably got from the nurse's office, and why you made it sound like such a cryptic ritual. Then once everything was set up, you waited for Mark to discover the ritual with you, and act as your alibi up until that point. Making use of our blind faith in whatever we found in the safe. Clever stuff, I gotta say. However, even you couldn't disguise it perfectly. All the other notes were printed out, but you couldn't copy that. Which is why you went with the next best thing. A note, written in blood. If dramatic enough, we could conceivably think the difference was no more than mere artistic license. Where'd you get the blood? If we were to give you a body check, we'd find that you were hiding a wound. If you really wanted to feel me up, Mouse, all you had to do was ask politely. Oh wait, you said he also killed Bunny and Horse? What's the story on that? Yeah, you wouldn't know about that yet, would you, Dragon? Horse and Bunny have both been killed. Of course, you wouldn't get that right away by looking at the scene. Bunny went missing while Horse was shot through the head, probably with the pistol Rooster is currently holding. But you just hid Bunny's corpse, didn't you, Rooster? First I was curious why you went about things like that. After thinking about it a little more, I realized it needed to be done. Horse was an incredibly dangerous opponent, even tied up like he was. It was just a matter of killing both, and it wouldn't have been a problem. However, if you shot both, the blood would have given it away, and you couldn't pin your crimes on an escapee. You had to strangle the person you didn't shoot, and strangling Horse seemed a very iffy proposal. Odds are he'd break the chair apart before you could choke him out. So when you walk into that room, you start by shooting Horse. Then you untie the rope from his body so you can use it to strangle Bunny. After that, you untie Bunny's corpse and drag it into some nearby hiding spot. Perhaps in some close classroom. Now tell me, Dragon, did Rooster ever leave your side during the search? Yeah, now that you mention it, he did. He went to use the restroom. Didn't think much of it at the time, so I just let him go. Thinking about it, you were using that time to kill those two, weren't you, you bastard? Rooster's departure from Dragon would naturally have come out in the questioning after the bodies were discovered, which is why Rooster planned on cleaning up loose ends before that happened. You planned on killing Dragon here, and coming up with some story about Bunny attacking Dragon before fleeing, weren't you? That's why he attacked you, Dragon. You really think that's the reason, Mouse? Right. The reason I killed the others. What, is it because I have the desperate personality I want to survive by myself? Is that not the case? Truthfully, I'd been thinking to myself, were that the case, Rooster's actions would have been rather strange. Alright, let's cut the crap, Mouse. That moment I realized I hadn't been giving Rooster enough credit. He really was a talented actor. You know, you're a really smart girl. I'm impressed, truly, that you figured so much out. Looks like you didn't figure the why out. How could you? Let me be clear. All this, wasn't driven by Brian. If anything, I should be grateful to Brian. He gave me a chance for revenge. What? Revenge? Do you think I made Bunny and Horse the suspects haphazardly? Do you think I partnered with Dragon on a whim? Everything I've done up until now has been to get revenge on the 4 people who ruined my life. Oh shit. Rooster, what are you talking about? You know, I came from a rich family. I could have guessed that much. Came from a rich family. I shan't mince words. It was nice. A charmed experience. You know what was great about being wealthy? It wasn't living in a mansion, or having nice food you tire. Having nice food, you tire of those things awfully quickly. No, what's great is the freedom it provides. When I realized my calling in life, I knew what to do. Parents paid for acting classes, took me to see movies, set me up perfectly. I was in control of my life. Could do what I wanted without interruption. Until my damned conscience got in the way. See, my parents were always influential in politics. Never quite saw eye to eye with them on many things, but I learned to turn my head. But lately they were making stranger and worse decisions than before, using their influence in ways I had large disagreements with. It eventually became too much. It was a set of legislation that empowered the police in our city massively. expanded the force they could use, gave them wider access to methods of surveillance, lowered restrictions needed for warrants. Oh, laws were horrible, flagrantly disrespecting human rights. Yeah, I remember those laws. They passed. You can thank the generous support from my parents for that. That was the tipping point. I'd had enough. Me and my parents got into a huge, blowout fight over the matter. Before I knew it, I was kicked out, disinherited, penniless, from heaven to hell, just like that. Wait, you got in an argument with your parents and they cut you out of your life? Said they were generous parents, not that they were caring. There's a difference. For living it good for so long, to fall so low. To go from living with complete freedom to being at the mercy of society. You don't know how it feels to survive that whiplash. You're right, I don't. The fuck's this got to do with anything? But gallantly, I survived. I kept pushing. In the face of it all, I pursued my dream of becoming a lead actor. And slowly but surely, that dream progressed. Albeit it has been a thorny path so far. It has honestly begun to pick up steam. I thought I could move past that chapter of my life. Never forgot what brought me here. Never stopped wondering why my parents would do what they did. For all their flaws, they weren't bad people. So I kept pestering them about it. One drunken phone call from my mother later, I got the real story. I knew who to actually be mad at. Eh? What? See, my parents never actually wanted to support that insidious bill. They were just being blackmailed to do it. Turns out, some people in higher places had gotten some material on them. Long story short, they were under the thumb of higher powers. Power powers? Power powers? This city's rotten, Mouse. It's empty at its core. Can't say I know everything, but there's something big at play. A huge blackmailing scheme with most of the city's power players wrapped up in it. Police were suspicious that I stormed into Amadeus Bowen's office on the day of his murder. They were always suspicious of my story. Whoa. Do you want to know the real reason I was there? Because I was looking for documents that would prove his connection to the blackmailing ring. You mean Amadeus Bowen was involved in that ring? Involved? Pal, he was one of the kingpins. Well, I guess you can only blackmail people for so long before it bites you in the ass. Anyways, when I was at his office, I saw that he had contracted a construction worker for some private business. By construction worker. Do you mean horse? Exactly. Turns out that big old thug was on Bowen's payroll. Really did his dirty work, if I had to guess. That's a fucking revelation. I followed Morris's trial closely, and that thing also stunk to high heavens. Why wouldn't it? Clearly the others involved in the blackmailing ring wanted to hide certain elements of the murder. What I could tell, the main prosecutor of the case and the chief officer handling the case both had to be in on it. Okay, that's Ox and Bunny. Bunny and Ox. We know Ox is just a patsy, though. And it's pretty safe to say that Bunny is corrupt. Exactly. Horse, Bunny, Ox. All three of them are agents of the city's darkest underside. They weren't just responsible for my rough years, my parents' grief, but countless other injustices and evils. I was presented with the perfect opportunity. How could I pass it up? Who other than I would take this opportunity to rid the world of these evildoers? So that was your plan. Erase anyone connected with this blackmailing ring? Exactly. Initially, I wasn't planning on doing anything. Just focusing on my own survival was good enough. Don't get involved, don't do anything stupid. The more I thought about it, I soon realized now was my only chance. Chaos and darkness of this race will erase what happens here. Truth will be written by the survivors. So then, where does Dragon fit into all this? Ah, Dragon. She's the biggest sinner of all. What? Oh yeah? Oh yeah. See, I referred to my parents in the past tense for a reason. They were recently killed in a hit and run. Perhaps it was an accident. More likely, a murder. Maybe it has something to do with their recent defections from the blackmailing group. What? It's a club you can defect from? I thought they were being blackmailed. not members of a blackmailing group. All I know is what I saw. As the person who was visiting them at the time of the accident, I saw the person who drove away from the crime scene. I saw a dragon. What the hell? That wasn't me. Yes, it was. When I saw you up close, I recognized you right away. You were definitely the person I saw that day. You must have worked for the blackmailing ring, too. That's why you did what you did. You crazy son of a bitch. You're lying. I haven't killed anyone. You're lying about the whole thing. Listen, Mouse, this guy's just selling one big story to cover his ass and gain sympathy from you. Really gonna stand here and listen to this? Mouse, I realize what this might look like to you. I know I've been deceiving you. I know I've killed 3 people already. But knowing what I've told you, can you really say I'm wrong? Look me in the eye and tell me that these people don't deserve to die. They wouldn't be doing the world a service by getting rid of them. I'm not the villain here, Mouse. I'm the hero. You're the psychotic bastard is what you are. Mouse, fucking deck this fool. I stood there, frozen. I took in everything I heard. Ultimately, well, goddamn. This is as good a place as any to end off this video. Yeah. Until next time. Until then.